welcome to the Lead Pedal Podcast. I'm your host, Bruce Outridge. Just wanted to wish everybody a happy new year. Hope you guys are having a great, going to have a great 2021. I know we are all glad to get through 2020. Anyway, today I thought I would just let you know about what's coming up new on the podcast and on the radio station, because we got some great stuff coming up. And I just want to again wish you a wonderful happy new year. I want to thank all of our, not only our fan club members, our sponsors, our supporters, but all of our fans that are enjoying the show and listen to it on a regular basis. We have lots of stuff coming up for 2021, and we hope you'll stay with us, and we hope you're enjoying the show. Hey, make sure you leave us a review wherever you feel you'd like to, whether it's on our social media pages, on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcasts. We always are happy to hear from you, for sure. Hey, let me just tell you about some of the changes we've got going. First of all, you've probably remembered, if you've been with us since 2015 roughly, we've had a tune of the week, or a tune of the show. It started as a tune a week when we were only once a week, but now it's gone every week. We've had a tune or music at the end of each show. We're stopping that for 2021. There's a couple reasons for that. One of them is that we have a radio station now, which we play plenty of music, and so all of those stars are going to be over there. Now, we still support those stars. We still will let you know what's coming up with them, but we do want to know, we do want to share more music with you over there. The second reason for that is that a lot of the platforms such as Spotify and stuff are starting to really clamp down on podcasts that have music included in them. And even though we haven't had a problem since we've been doing that, it's getting harder and harder and harder to get around that. And we've got permission from all of our artists that we play on the show, so I'm not worried about that. But we do recognize that may be an issue down the road. They may come to a point where they say no music at all. So before we get to that point, we thought, you know what, we've got the radio station now. The reason we started music in the actual podcast was because of my love of music, and I wanted to feature some of these bands that are our friends and some that just play great music. And so that's why we started that. Now that we have the radio station, we have a place to feature them properly there and play a lot more of their music. And so we don't need to play it so much on the podcast anymore, which I think will help a lot of our listeners who just want the information and not necessarily the music. We would encourage you to go to leadpedalradio.com to listen to the music and see our bands and those kind of things as far as that goes. So we certainly want you to keep supporting those bands. They certainly need us in this time, and we certainly support them and love their music. We just found that there's more that we can do for them on the radio station as opposed to the podcast. So you'll start seeing, as of this episode, you'll stop seeing music within the episode, but you'll still see all the great interviews and the great features that we've had in the past. Now, while we're talking about Lead Pedal Radio, if you aren't aware of what that is, we started that in August of 2020 as a place to not only get more involved with music, but also get more involved with our fans and with our audience, a little more live connection than you're allowed on a podcast. The podcast is still our number one thing. We still are doing all the great interviews and stuff like that. We, the nice thing about a podcast, you can download it and listen to it at any time. But at the same time, we wanted to have kind of more of a live aspect to the podcast, and podcasts just aren't made that way. They just can't do that. So back in January of 2020, a year ago, we decided to start doing live events on Facebook, and we were just doing one a month. It was just kind of a scheduled Q&A is what it was started as. It's morphed into, not only is it not just once a month, it's every Monday night. Second of all, it's now turned into its own show, which is also on Lead Pedal Radio as well, called the Trucking Top 10 Game. And we are also playing for charity, and then we have fan club draws and all kinds of stuff. So it's turned into a really great night as far as that goes. And I think we're gonna keep going to keep doing that because we're just having so much fun, and we're helping charities at the same time. So we've been playing the game for a certain amount of money, and then that goes to the charity, and then sometimes we buy products from the charity, like we did for the Truckers Christmas group. We bought there, but then we donated the prize that we bought to a fan club member. So it's a win-win for everybody. We're going to keep doing stuff like that, and we're going to keep having a really good time. So we wanted to feature that. So that's going to be on Lead Pedal Radio. So if you go to Lead Pedal Radio, you want to join us Monday nights at 8 o'clock. We play the Trucking Top 10 game. There's features. I've got a show, Truck Talk, which goes every day, Monday to Friday, 4 to 5, where we just pick different topics and we talk about it, and people give us their comments on social media. Some give us comments through the website. You can go right there and talk about that. But we do have some new shows that we added just back in the beginning of December. You guys probably know the Trucker Radio Show, very, very popular show. Stan, Alicia, and Tim have been doing it for a long time. It's a great show. They have it as a podcast, Truck News and Talk, but their Trucker Radio Show has music in it. And so if you listen to their Truck News and Talk show, you're not getting the whole show. You're getting basically the show without the music in it. But their syndicated radio show has all the music in it and the other stories that are maybe not relevant to trucking so much. So that's a show that they share on other stations. So we've decided to take that show on as well on Lead Pedal Radio. So if you go to Lead Pedal Radio Tuesday mornings from 10 o'clock till 12 o'clock, you'll hear the Trucker Radio Show in its entirety the way it was originally done. If you just want to go and download just the other parts, then I'd certainly urge you to go to truckerradio.com and you can listen to the listen to the Truck News and Talk. So that's probably one of the biggest shows that we've got. Another one that we started is the Sofax radio show. So you've probably heard us talking about that. You've probably seen it on social media. That's hosted by Robert Mayer Jr. And Robert is in the Burlington area here. And what he does is he helps young musicians get their careers started. He's kind of like a mentor to a lot of young musicians. And so we decided to have a show for him here where he's doing that. He's showcasing young musicians, up-and-coming musicians in the local area, and he's having a great time with it. So that's on Wednesday nights at 5 o'clock, and again on Saturdays at noon it replays, or an older show replays. So you can find that at both times. It's a great show, and it's supporting some of our up-and-coming musicians, which is great. Then you probably have another person that you know, and this is Chris Harris. And Chris is the safety dog, as you probably know him, and he's got his podcast called the Dog On It Podcast, which is a safety podcast. We have decided to feature some of those shows here on Lead Pedal Radio as well. So on Thursday mornings at 10 o'clock, you can join the Trucking Safety not the Trucking Safety Podcast, the Trucking Safety Show with Safety Dog. And so it's going to feature some of his safety interviews that he's done with people. And again, that's go to leadpedalradio.com. You're going to see that for sure. And then we've got a couple other shows which are not necessarily trucking shows that you might like. One called In the Studio. The In the Studio show is one where we showcase some of the musicians we've had on. We feature them. Sometimes they're our band of the month, sometimes they're not, and we just feature them. So In the Studio is where I've either done interviews with them or I talk about the bands, and a lot of them are people that we feature on Lead Pedal Radio. Another one is the Professionals of the Highway show. So you probably remember that we did our tour back in 2020. We started our Professionals of the Highway tour. We plan on keeping that going for 2021, and we just want to feature some of those interviews that we've done. Yeah, there's some on the podcast, but they're depending on how, you can go back and a lot of them are recaps. So we just have some different interviews that people we've talked to, and that's called the Professionals of the Highway show, which is a show that comes on at 6 o'clock every night, Monday to Friday on the show. And then if you love our oldies and goldies, if you like oldies, old music like the Roy Orbisons and Johnny Cash of the world, you're going to love our oldie goldies shows. That happens 10 a.m. Saturdays and Sundays. It goes 10 till 12 Saturdays and Sundays. And then we have what we call a Tropical Day show, which is is on Saturdays and Sundays from 2 to 5. So some really great programming there. Lots of stuff coming up. There's the morning trucking show, which goes on every day from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. We have those other programs. And then we have the Trucker Road Show, which is every afternoon, 1 to 4. So lots of programming going on there. But it's more the live stuff because you never know what's coming on because it's radio. So all you got to do is go to leadpedalradio.com. You can read all about the shows. Some of them are sponsored by some amazing sponsors of ours. And then, of course, if you want to download certain podcast episodes, the Lead Pedal Podcast is where you need to go. So I just thought I would share that with you. Wanted to make sure that you knew some of the new stuff coming on. We are excited. We have a lot of stuff coming up for 2021, and we know that you do too. And we want to share it with you. So enjoy, and all the best for 2021.